A pair of leather golf shoes sits on a pro shop shelf with a price tag hanging off the laces. And honestly, that price tag is the whole problem. You have probably wondered whether golf shoes actually do anything, or whether you are just paying extra for a logo and a slightly different lace pattern. So we checked. We looked at what actually happens during a golf swing. We read the warranty pages nobody reads, and we dug through years of real complaints from golfers who bought the wrong pair. Two of the biggest names in golf shoes have documented failure patterns that should worry you before you spend a cent. And the shoe that actually earned our respect this year is a brand most golfers used to make fun of. Here are 5 golf shoe brands worth skipping, and 3 that are actually worth your money. First, let's settle the basic question, because it changes everything else in this video. Do you actually need golf shoes, or will regular sneakers get the job done? A golf swing generates real rotational force through your feet, especially at the top of the backswing and through impact, when your weight shifts hard from your back foot to your front foot. Sneakers are built to grip pavement and sidewalks for a split second at a time, not to hold your foot locked into wet grass while your whole body rotates through it. Golf shoe outsoles, whether they use spikes or a molded spikeless tread, are specifically engineered to dig into turf and stay planted through that rotation. That is not marketing. Studies on swing mechanics have shown that spiked footwear can produce greater ground reaction force than a standard athletic shoe, and more ground reaction force means more usable power reaching the golf ball. On top of that, most real golf shoes are built wider through the base for stability, more rigid through the midfoot to resist twisting, and at least partially waterproof, which matters a lot more than you think once you are standing in dew-soaked rough at 7 in the morning. There is a fair counterpoint here. If you play golf once or twice a year, on a dry course, walking a cart path the whole time, a decent pair of sneakers will not ruin your round. Nobody is telling a casual player to panic, but the moment you start playing regularly, walking 18 holes instead of riding, or golfing anywhere that gets wet in the morning, the gap between sneakers and real golf shoes stops being theoretical and starts showing up in blisters, slips, and a swing that never quite feels stable at the top. So yes, golf shoes are worth having once golf becomes something more than an occasional outing. The real question was never whether to buy them, it is which ones are actually worth your money, and that is where things get interesting. Because a few of golf's biggest names have been quietly coasting on reputation while their shoes fall apart underneath golfers who trusted the logo. Number 5, Ecco. Ecco has spent decades building a reputation as a premium European shoemaker, and on a shelf, an Ecco golf shoe still looks and feels like a serious piece of leather craftsmanship. Here is what that reputation is hiding. Ecco builds its shoes using a process called direct polyurethane injection, where the sole is essentially fused onto the upper as one continuous piece, rather than glued or stitched on separately. A former Ecco employee has publicly explained that this method creates a strong waterproof seal, but it comes with a brutal trade-off. If the polyurethane in that sole degrades through a chemical process called hydrolysis, where moisture slowly breaks down the material from the inside, there is no fixing it. The shoe cannot be resoled the way a traditional golf shoe can, and that breakdown is not rare. Owners across multiple platforms, including formal complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau, describe walking out of a store, an airplane, or even church, and leaving a trail of black rubber crumbs behind them as the sole disintegrates in real time. One buyer described 3 separate pairs failing the exact same way. Ecco's official warranty only covers you for 1 year, and even within that window, several buyers have had claims denied and been told the crumbling sole counted as normal wear. If you are buying golf shoes to last, a shoe that cannot be repaired and comes with a 1-year window is a real gamble. Number 4. Under Armour. Under Armour has real credibility in golf, built largely around Jordan Spieth wearing their shoes on tour for over a decade. But look at where the brand is actually heading right now. Heading into the 2026 season, Under Armour is discontinuing 3 of its current golf shoe models at once: the Drive Pro, the Charge Draw 2, and the Phantom 4. That is not one aging style getting phased out quietly. That is a meaningful chunk of the current lineup disappearing in a single season. On top of that, Under Armour's current golf shoes only come with a 1-year waterproof warranty, a full year shorter than the 2-year coverage FootJoy offers on its better lines. So you are looking at a brand actively trimming its own golf footwear catalog while offering shorter protection than the competition. When a company is pulling models this fast, replacement parts, matching colorways, and resale value all get shakier, and that is exactly the kind of uncertainty you do not want baked into a shoe you are about to spend real money on. Number 3. G4. G4 built its entire identity on being the fashion brand of golf shoes, the pair everyone on the course notices first, and they are genuinely good looking. They are also genuinely expensive, routinely landing between $200 and $250 a pair, among the priciest shoes in the sport. The problem is that the price tag and the durability do not always match up. One buyer described the stitching on a pair of G4 Gallivanters coming loose within a year, and even after a repair, water still got in. That is a serious failure on a shoe at that price point. Sizing is another recurring complaint, especially in G4's smaller men's sizes, where multiple golfers describe a design so narrow through the ankle collar that it causes real, lasting pain. One buyer says G4's customer service initially offered a resolution, then reversed that decision even after documented proof was provided. And traction is not universally praised either. One golfer described a spikeless G4 model as having barely any tread to begin with, calling the grip during the golf swing itself unreliable enough to nearly lose their footing on wet turf. Golf forums echo the same split. Some longtime owners say their G4 Gallivanters and MG4 models have held up fine for years and fit true to size compared with Adidas. Others describe the exact opposite experience, with tight toe boxes, slipping heels, and shoes that felt useless for golf the very first time it rained. That kind of inconsistency is a real risk when you are paying luxury prices. You should not be gambling on stitching, ACing, and grip all at once, especially when a cheaper shoe on this list delivers more predictable results. Number 2. Puma. Puma makes some genuinely stylish, comfortable golf shoes, and plenty of golfers swear by them, but the durability complaints follow a strikingly consistent pattern. One golfer reported both shoes in a pair, splitting in the exact same spot, on both feet, after only about 7 months of normal use, despite meticulous care after every round. A separate, newer Puma model has documented reports of the toe material peeling away from the sole after as few as 4 wearings, sometimes right after the return window closed. And on certain Puma styles, like the Leather Royale, the spikes are molded in and cannot be replaced. That means once the traction wears down, which happens well before the leather upper does, you are not buying new spikes. You are buying an entirely new pair of shoes. For a brand at Puma's price point, that combination of early sole failures and non-replaceable grip is worth knowing about before you buy. Number 1. Nike. Nike carries more brand weight than almost anyone else in athletic footwear, and it is tempting to assume that weight carries over into golf shoes automatically. Independent testing in 2025 says otherwise. 2 current Nike golf models, the Infinity G and the Infinity Tour 2, were both evaluated in a large-scale, hands-on test alongside every major competitor, and both finished in the bottom half of the entire field. Golfers testing Nike's lineup repeatedly flag a narrow forefoot fit as a recurring problem, particularly for anyone with wide feet, to the point where reviewers have had to build entire guides just to recommend wide foot alternatives to Nike. And Nike still prices its golf shoes at the premium end of the market, without the independent testing results to justify sitting there. That said, plenty of individual golfers online do genuinely love their Nike Infinity Tour shoes, shoes and say they feel supportive and fully waterproof once broken in, so this is not a case of a universally bad shoe. It is a case of a narrow, snug fit that works great for some feet and causes real problems for others, sold at a price that assumes it works for everyone. The logo is not the problem. The actual on-course performance measured against the field is. So those are the 5 to think twice about. Now here are the 3 actually worth your money, and the order might surprise you. Number 3, FootJoy. FootJoy is the closest thing golf footwear has to an industry standard, and the reason is written right into their warranty page in black and white. Depending on the specific style, FootJoy backs its shoes with a documented 1 to 2 year limited waterproof warranty. If a shoe leaks within the first year, FootJoy replaces it outright with the same or an equivalent style. If it leaks in year 2 of a 2-year policy, you still get 50% credit toward a new pair. No other major brand covered in this video offers protection structured quite like that. FootJoy's Pro SLX line has become the reference point other companies get measured against, including reviewers who directly compared it to G4's $200 shoes and said the FootJoy option performed just as well for a fraction of the price. That combination of a real warranty and a proven reference standard shoe is why FootJoy earns its reputation instead of just riding on it. Number 2, Adidas, specifically the Tour 360. The Tour 360 has been in continuous production for roughly 19 years, which is an eternity in golf footwear, where most shoe lines get quietly replaced every 2 or 3 seasons. That kind of longevity does not happen by accident. The current Tour 360 24 model carries a 2-year waterproof warranty and holds a 4.7 out of 5 customer rating, and Adidas actually listened to complaints on the way to building it. The previous generation had spikes molded directly into the outsole, meaning golfers could not replace worn down spikes the way you can on most performance shoes. Adidas heard that complaint and redesigned the newest Tour 360 specifically to bring replaceable spikes back. That is a brand fixing a real documented weakness instead of just repackaging the same shoe in a new colorway, and it is exactly the kind of long-term thinking that earns a top spot on this list. Number 1, Skechers Go Golf. This is the one that surprises people, including golfers who have played the game for 20 years. Skechers officially entered golf footwear back in 2012, and for most of that time, plenty of serious golfers treated the brand as a punchline, something for casual walkers, not competitive players. That perception has flipped hard over roughly the last 5 years. One reviewer who tested the Go Golf Prestige model wore the same pair for around 60 rounds in a single year, more than any other shoe in their rotation, and said it required 0 break-in period, arriving comfortable straight out of the box on the very first wear. That is not a small detail. Plenty of premium leather shoes need weeks to soften up before they stop causing blisters. Skechers also builds many of its Go Golf models around arch fit insole technology, developed using actual podiatrist certified foot scan data, the kind of orthopedic engineering you would expect to only find in a shoe costing twice as much. And the price point sits meaningfully below FootJoy and well below G4, which means you are getting comfort, real support technology, and no break-in time for a fraction of what the fashion brands charge. That combination is exactly why Skechers takes the top spot. So here is where that leaves you. Golf shoes are not a gimmick. The traction, the stability, and the waterproofing all do real, measurable work during your swing and across an 18-hole walk. But which brand you hand your money to matters just as much as whether you buy golf shoes at all. Skip the shoe that cannot be re-soled, the lineup that is shrinking under you. The price tag that outpaces its own stitching, the sole that splits before a year is up, and the logo that tested in the bottom half of the field. Put your money instead into the warranty that actually pays out, the shoe that fixed its own mistakes, and the budget option that quietly became somebody's go-to after 60 rounds. None of this means the brands on the skip list are incapable of making a good shoe ever again, and none of it means the 3 worth it picks are flawless. Adidas costs real money. Skechers still is not the shoe for a tour-level ball striker chasing every last percent of traction. And even FootJoy's warranty has limits once a shoe shows normal wear and tear. But when you line the evidence up side by side, warranty against warranty, complaint pattern against complaint pattern, 3 names consistently backed up their reputation and 5 did not. If you have worn any of these brands yourself, drop your experience in the comments, because the next pair of golf shoes you buy should be based on what actually holds up on the course, not just what looks good on the shelf.